And welcome to the Daft Souls podcast. It's me, Matt Lees, joined by Joe Scrabbles.
It's me, Joe Scrabbles.
Joined by...
It's me, Joe Scrabbles.
Joined by Matt Lees, Joe Scrabbles. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks.
And there's no one else here, which is why we both sort of introduced ourselves twice. Make it kind of add an element of richness, depth.
Yeah, just layer that up, make it sound like the room's full, like this is a live podcast to ourselves.
In front of an audience of ourselves.
Like, isn't it always a live podcast to ourselves? Are we not entertaining ourselves in an onanistic fashion?
Are you absolutely sure I ever upload any of these?
I've listened to one or two because I like listening to my opinions back.
Damn, you've broken my Matrix joke.
God damn it.
Anyway, video games. So this week I have played a little bit of stuff. To be honest, I've kind of been still reeling from our Subterfuge game, which the first part of that episode went up today when we're recording, but the next part will be up tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Good Lord, it's really hard when you record podcasts and upload them at different times. It'll be up this Wednesday. It's worth watching if you want to see people gradually declining into sadness.
It's really good, like from a personal perspective, it's really good watching because there's something amazing about seeing because we were all nervous at the start, but we were excited.
Yeah.
And you can hear that in everyone except Pip, who had recorded it after she'd finished.
Yes.
And so there is a world weariness that you will come to hear in everyone's voice.
Yeah.
In her clip.
And it's fascinating. It's we won't spoil anything else, but it was interesting in the fact that the devs have been quite excited about the videos we made because they're quite well produced. The first one especially is a really good introduction to the game and what it's like and what it's about. But I'll be interested to see what their reactions are as the series continues because I think towards the end I was enjoying it again, but there are some really bleak moments. It's a very strange series and we've only edited a little bit of it, but already it's this is not going to be like any other sort of Let's Play diary series of any game. It's more of a tale of humans falling apart.
Yeah, it's not your Fun and Japes Hellduffers stuff.
No, it isn't Fun and Japes. It isn't like, hey, it's your boy, having
your boy.
an existential crisis and not trusting anyone anymore.
No.
I'm wondering what the point in life is. Anyway, I've been playing something a bit lighter than that recently. I'll really briefly say, actually, I finished Undertale.
Oh, really?
I'm really glad I did because it got a bit soggy towards the middle end. There was a character, because the thing is, it's all like character-based humour, and there's one of the characters that was very sweet, but I didn't find it very funny, and I just got a bit fed up. There was a series of puzzles towards the end, and I was just like, just do the thing. Just let me finish this, let me get to the plot. Had some lovely plot beats, had some lovely in-jokes to do with video games that I adored, but I did almost kind of start to lose interest, because the pace was just a bit clunky, and I was like, oh, no. And I'm glad I stuck with it, because the last few hours blew my mind.
Really?
Really blew my mind, yeah.
I wasn't expecting that combination of words.
No.
So it's legitimately eye-opening? Is it blows your mind in that it changes, or that it becomes what it is so well?
Yes, a combination of both.
Interesting.
It's not a very good answer, but it's hard to say anything without spoiling it.
Yeah, of course.
But no, I got into Undertale because it was this really charming, fun thing that had a really good sense of humour and heart. It kind of made me quite sad at times. And then I realised it did some very clever things. And I started to realise I was like, hang on a minute, this is doing some weird stuff that games don't do in quite an interesting mechanical level. And then as the game goes on, it kind of almost plays with that more. And it gets a bit more meta and it becomes something more. So I went into it expecting a kind of twee, fun, light, funny JRPG thing. And it ends up being something quite something else. That's very made me obsessed with it in retrospect. It's nothing like Braid, but it's a bit Braidy, and the fact that when you finish it, you kind of go, what? And then it gets into your head, and you start to look at everything a bit differently, and you start to re-examine it. And I then went and I didn't play through the whole game again, but you can kind of reload a save before the end and then play it again, and different things happen. And yeah, I got to the point where I thought, oh, it's the end, I'm going to finish it now in about 15 minutes. And then ended up actually, no, I played it for about 2 hours more.
Wow.
And some of the stuff that happened within that 2 hours was fascinating. And I've now just become a bit, now I get it, you see. Because the thing is, I was playing it and I thought, this is a fun game, I like it, it's very funny, it made me laugh a lot. But I saw all these people, especially on Cool Ghosts, I saw all these people in the comments thread saying oh, I love Undertale, I love it. All these people who changed their avatars on Twitter to Undertale characters, I was like, people are really obsessed by this game.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite get that. I thought, yes, this is really good, but why are people so obsessed? And now when I've finished it, it's really got under my skin in a way which is fascinating. And the really fascinating thing is because you can go through the game and kill everything.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
Right.
So I finished the game with a kind of neutral ending where you kind of like, you maybe like you didn't completely kill everything, but then you can finish it again and do a pacifist ending, so you get a kind of longer ending because you didn't kill anything through the whole game. And I'd recommend doing that. It's really good.
Okay.
But then there's another one where you can get the genocide ending, so just is what the community are calling it, of just killing everything. And I can't do it. Like, even though I know that I'll go through and I will legitimately get to see different things and it will be different, it will mean going back into that world and murdering all of those characters.
It reminds me
I can't do it.
Of... There is an amazing bit of writing. This fits in very well with my feelings on Dark Souls as a whole, which is that I much prefer reading writing about Dark Souls than I do playing it. I prefer reading people's coalesced thoughts about it. There's an amazing piece by a guy called Alex, I don't know his last name because he doesn't use it very often, about finishing Dark Souls, and the only thing left for him to do is going back and killing all the NPCs in the game, and how that makes him feel doing it. And it is absolutely amazing because I think he's
because he needed items that you could only get from.
Yes, I think so. Well, it's not even from a mechanical perspective. It's just going. I go back to this person, and this is what happens, and the things they say are really interesting in the context of having finished Dark Souls. And I think he's a poet, like in real life. Gotcha. And so it's written with this like beautiful, haunting tone. It's an amazing bit of writing. I can't remember what the piece is called, but you'll be able to find it if you search for Alex Dark Souls killing NPCs. It was up for some journalism prizes and stuff a couple of years ago. It's really good, but it reminds me of that feeling of like, can you bring yourself to fuck with the stuff that you loved most about a game? Like,
yeah, and I mean, there's other elements as well to do with the really, really clever stuff that this game does that actually add to that as well. It's not quite as simple as being like, I don't want to hurt these characters. There's more to it than that.
Okay.
But I won't say any more on that. But it's just fascinating how I went on YouTube and I was like looking up the endings and looking up these bits from the game, that how it pans out if you do it that way. Because actually the dialogue is different. And the way that the game events pan out is really different.
Nice.
In quite an unpleasant way. And I hadn't really realised how unpleasant it is until I started looking it up and reading up and going, fuck. Like,
nice.
I'm glad I'm not doing this because it would be horrible.
How long is it all told?
It took me about 6-7 hours to beat.
Oh, that's good. I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's that thing of like, last week's, I was complaining about how I was stuck on a boss. And I thought the game was too hard. Turned out it wasn't. I just hadn't worked out what I had to do. So it's the sort of
Classic.
game where, Google carefully, basically. Like
yeah.
If something seems too hard and you're trying to do the pacifist route, if something seems too hard, just stop and Google it. Because honestly, like, otherwise, I spent about 2 hours practicing a boss fight, and in the end I went to bed thinking, I'm just too tired. And then got up and had a coffee and just sat for another hour, and it was actually a really simple thing I could have done. And then I won. And I was kind of annoyed because I was like, I literally wasted so much time. And another thing I'd recommend is really important is just spend your money on healing items. Always keep your inventory full of healing items. Whenever you get any opportunity to buy some, buy them, use them. Because there was a couple of times in the game where I got to a boss fight, I couldn't do it, I didn't have any healing items, and I had to just walk back to the last town to buy some stuff. And it's not that far. It's only like, it was mad. I was getting really frustrated by this because it's like, I've got to backtrack, and it's like, you backtrack for like 5 minutes of your time, but like it feels like a long time.
It feels egregious. It's like there's not the fact that you shouldn't have to do it is the problem, as opposed to what it actually is that you're doing. Absolutely.
But yeah, it's fantastic. I'm really glad I stuck with it. I'm really glad that I kept doing it because it is just this sort of it's a hell of a thing, and it's something that's like it's going to get harder like to avoid spoilers because I think that it's something which is going to be continued to talk about because it does things mechanically which I don't really think many other games have ever done, and you probably will see people talking about it again and again for a while. But yeah, very cool. And actually, I mean, like I've been listening to the soundtrack in isolation since finishing the game, and it's an amazing soundtrack. But it's almost that thing of being like, I want to keep consuming it in the same way that people who get obsessed with Dark Souls just keep playing it again and again. It's like I finished it twice. And then I've listened to the soundtrack, but it's funny how there's a whole other playthrough for me. There's a whole other playthrough, but I can't do it. And the number of people in the comments watching this video being like, oh yeah, thumbs up if you you're here watching this because you can't do it. And there's loads of people who are just like, yeah, I can't do this.
That's really interesting.
So I'll watch somebody else do it.
What a strange little movement. That's fun.
And it's even clever things like, I think somebody discovered, and this is a slight spoiler but nothing too heavy, is that somebody's discovered that the game actually can tell when people are recording or streaming. And so there is occasionally bits of dialogue which are almost like making a reference to the idea that somebody else is watching.
No way.
Yeah, so that's a little thing. So it's like almost the game knows that some people won't want to do some things and will watch it online, and then it's like the idea you can't escape the game. You're still a part of the game, even when you're not.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, that's
the real deal.
It is the real deal. And there's other stuff that's kind of similar to that the game does. That's really, really clever. That's something that's like kind of it's a bit spoilery, but at the same time, you probably wouldn't find that out unless you whatever. Like,
that's some pure Metal Gear Solid stuff. That's like. The next step is it's going to start reading like your browser tabs.
It is actually weirdly, yeah, it's a bit Metal Gear Solid in a weird way for something that appears quite twee and airy and light.
Just breaks out and goes, "Hello, Joe. I see you enjoy X-Hamster."
It's X-Hamster. Do you really look at that kind of stuff, Joe?
No.
That sounds filthy.
I've just heard about it.
You just heard about it, sure.
I'm on the internet all day.
So yeah, it's a big recommendation from me for Undertale. I keep thinking if there's a way I can do a video about it, but it's very difficult to say much about it because it's like at some point I would like to have a discussion about the game in a spoilery capacity because I think it's some really interesting stuff. But now's not the time.
To continue this general theme of things that we can't really talk about, so I'll go over it as quickly as I can. Would you like to talk about the final episodes of Life is Strange and Tales from the Borderlands?
I have not followed either of these series. Okay.
Right.
Now, I've had Jim talk about a lot. Jim Trinker from Video Game has been on here. He's talked about Life is Strange a lot.
Yeah.
He's told me the gist of it. He's avoided spoilers. And everyone I've spoken to has said that Life is Strange is brilliant.
I think Life is Strange might actually be one of the most important games of this year.
Wow.
Now that it's finished.
Because I was waiting. I thought, well, I've missed it. I'm not going to get the water cooler moments.
No.
Because I don't have a water cooler.
You should get one, man. Get one in the corner and just stand on it.
That'd be great. We could go and stand over there, talk.
The water cooler moment could just be you on a water cooler. You don't need anyone else there. Just be alone. Just listen to it burble. It'd be nice.
We're the best of friends in my head now.
Bloop.
Me and the
That's
water
what you
cooler.
want. You want the bloop.
But I'm actually really glad that everyone's saying it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's legitimately bewildering and fantastic, and the final episode does it at the same time. It does exactly what I wanted it to do, but at the same time confounded me by how it did it. It starts off as you expect it to, and it's intense. We'll put it that way. And then it goes fully off the rails and becomes this like rabbit hole that reflects back on everything that you have played to that point.
Interesting.
And a fairly major thing that one review I've seen that I have major problems with, it does the Telltale thing that will annoy some people, this review I saw included.
Which doesn't actually matter.
A lot of the stuff you do doesn't matter. It's just reflected in conversation.
Sure.
But the entirety of the final episode is kind of about the fact that the idea of having control over this situation is a total folly, and that if you believe that you should, you're a moron.
Yeah.
But it becomes this like critique of itself. And I know I've been on here months ago with Pip talking about how we had very different opinions on the first episode, which it feels like teen fiction. By the fifth episode, it is not teen fiction anymore, and it is casting that first episode in a new light in really interesting ways.
Fascinating.
It's amazing, like really, really interesting. And then on the flip side, the unsung thing of this week is that Tales of the Borderlands is finished as well. Tales from the Borderlands, and
it's just not as French though, is it?
It's not, but that's it. So Life is Strange is taking the Telltale formula and turning it in on itself and fixing its mechanics that don't quite work and making choice and consequence a joke because you can rewind, and commenting on that and making that part of the fabric of the game. Tales from the Borderlands goes, we're a Telltale game. We're never going to get away from the fact that we're built into this structure now.
Right.
Fuck it, we're pure entertainment. And it's no longer about, what do I do in this situation? How do I survive longer? Is this going to benefit me? Is this going to hurt me? It's just going, what do I think the funniest thing to do in this situation is? And just choosing punchlines constantly. And it becomes this, like, if it was slightly more sedate, it would be gaming's first sitcom. It's like this cast of characters that you love. There's this kind of like couple who at the forefront who have this combative relationship, but who kind of they're never romantic, but they fall in and out with each other, and they have this like, are they going to be friends? Are they going to be enemies? Where are they going to end up? And then there's this cast of characters around them who drift in and out. Some of them disappear for whole episodes and come back, and it has that sitcom brilliance of like, I really want to see that guy again, and then he comes back and you're like, yeah, it's fucking Vaughn with his weird handsome chest. Like, and it just plays it for laughs and plays it as
but it's just a bit more like upbeat and
exactly, and it has touching moments, but it's Telltale going, fuck it, we'll be entertainment. If people have a problem with not making enough impact, we'll just make it fun, and we'll just make the experience of playing it, your interaction with it is just choosing the way you want it to be funny.
Because I always found that the Borderlands sense of humour to be really hit and miss.
Yes,
yeah. Some of it I loved, other bits I just thought were like trash. Like I know that is it Tiny Tina was like a favourite character for Borderlands 2? I thought it was terrible.
Yeah, this is quite a lot more nuanced than that. So those kind of characters sort of live on the fringes.
Because I loved, in the second game, I loved Claptrap in that. I just loved that he was painted as this really tragic guy who just wanted to spend time with you.
Yeah.
And that was just really sad, because especially it felt like a great comment on the fact that there is none of that in those games. You are always cashing in a quest, running off, teleporting, shooting things, cashing in, and it's like kind of the whole game is built on this mad pace, and all Claptrap wants is for you to just stay and
just be
with
around
him for a bit, and then him going off and inventing all these stories about how you and him are doing stuff. It was like, it sounded like it was a lovely layered thing in the fact there was this idea of Claptrap was telling everyone that like he was responsible for all these heroics, and that you were kind of like helping him do it, which kind of came across, I guess, on a base level of it being like the classic thing of, oh, he's a liar, he's trying to gain the glory. But I just thought it was like another echo of his loneliness, that he just wanted to be a part of it.
Well, and it's almost as if they've taken some of that tone and made that the central part, because for a start, most of the game is told in flashback. So the idea that you're ever going to change anything is sort of a joke anyway, because you know you have to get to this point at some point. But it's the two characters telling it, and sometimes their stories contradict each other. So they'll break in and go, no, that's not how it played out. And you'll play the same scene in a different perspective and stuff.
So it's almost like both these games, both Tales of the Borderland and Life is Strange, are almost like two different punchlines to the same joke.
Exactly. They're both going, this structure
doesn't work.
This structure doesn't work. What can we do with it? And commenting on it in two completely different ways. And I love Life is Strange, but it's impossible to talk about because it's such a comment on itself.
Do you think this... Because I remember when we talked about this the first time a while ago, I think Quentin was saying that he doesn't go back and change anything in Life is Strange. He just sticks with this thing. Do you think that's mad? Or do you... Not mad, but do you think that's like...
No,
taking away some of the enjoyment of the game?
Changing stuff... I mean, there's a couple of bits where it's an actual puzzle mechanic, so you have to mess with stuff.
Right.
But beyond that, not changing things is fine, because it's... In as much, the best moment to explain the sort of metaphor of that, to get really poncy about it, the metaphor of that mechanic is in the first episode, you go out onto a quad and there's all the cliques from the school sitting around, and you go up to each one, or you don't have to at all, you can just walk past them. But I went up to each one, talked to them, got made fun of, rewound and said a cooler thing, and then they liked me. And so the whole thing is about a teenager going, oh, fuck, I wish I'd said that.
Yeah.
I wish I'd known the term for, like, the skateboard clique. Or I wish I'd known how to fly a drone, because that's the cool things to do as a teenager. So it has this sense of, like, becoming who you are is sort of faking it, is sort of becoming a figment. And then as the game goes on, that's deconstructed further and further until you're, like... It's impossible to talk about without spoiling it, but you'll start deconstructing a person based on what they choose to do. And then, but this is the thing, is like, you can't talk about this without talking about what's happened in it. The thing about Tales from the Borderlands, which means it's going to be overlooked because of this, but that I love, is that it just goes, well, no, we're going to stick really cool licensed music as the opening credits every time. We're going to have Hollywood quality voice actors. So there's Patrick Warburton, Chris Hardwick, like really funny, interesting, good voice people sitting around. And the whole thing's just like this brilliant... It's almost like... It's almost like the Uncharted of adventure games, in the sense of it's this like high gloss, like Hollywood production of just like enjoy yourself, just have fun with what we're giving you, and don't worry too much about it. And some people won't be what they're after from it. But I
do love that stuff though, and there's often not enough of that.
Yeah.
Just being like, we've made this for you to just really enjoy.
Yeah.
And it's not going to challenge you that much. You're just going to go through it and have a great time.
And exactly, Life is Strange is a harrowing experience. Tales from the Borderlands is just like explosions and spaceships and like meeting people and guys going to their heroic end and bad guys and, you know, like just fucking like this like delicious, this fucking dessert of a game, just stuff. It's just brilliant, like just plunging your face into it and coming out smiling.
Drowning in profiterole.
It's so
and I
good.
don't care.
It's great. It's just, it's a lovely thing. And it's like both of them are way up in my games of the year now.
You just put a big buffet table in front of me.
Exactly.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with my life.
Extremely well made Ottolenghi vegan main meal, which is Life is Strange, and then like a fucking vat of custard.
Because I think I played the first maybe 2 episodes of the Game of Thrones one.
See, I still don't. I've not played any of that, and I've got it.
I like the problem is there's just too many of these things now, and it becomes this thing of being like, at first they're amazing because it's like I can play an episode in an hour and a half, but then when you've got like loads of them and they're all finished, it's like, well, actually now it's like 8-9 hours each for each one.
Yeah.
But I should make a start on one of them, especially as I was kind of holding off on Life is Strange because I was really worried everyone was going to go, oh, they've ruined it, everything's rubbish, and, you know, like lost at it, you know, basically.
Yes, yep.
Because it seemed to have similar themes of being a bit weird, and it's like it could just go off the rails and be terrible.
My favourite thing about Life is Strange currently is that Don't Nod, who are quite a small studio who make it, have already announced their next game. So I know that they're not going to make Life is Strange Season 2 anytime soon, and I hope they never do, because it is a perfect little construction, and if they try to make it a wider world, it will fall apart under its own weight.
Sure, yeah.
So I just want it to exist. I want it to be like this. I want it to be like the cool novels that everyone talks about in that game. I want it to be like, have you read Ray Bradbury? Have you played Life is Strange? Like something teenagers will be like talking about.
It's a thing.
For hip points. Like, it deserves to be that.
I really kind of want to give it a proper chance, mainly because of the fact that I remember when Remember Me came out, I played like the first half an hour, 40 minutes of it, because, you know, when I was at Video Game, one of the things we'd do would be to play the first half an hour things to make a video so you can just give people a general impression. And I just really thought it was pretty awful. I thought the combat was substandard. I thought the voice acting was appalling, and I thought the script was very weak. And it seemed to be like kind of very heavily hinging on like really quite obvious, clever puns, like, oh, it's called this. And I really just thought, this game's trash. And I kind of like slated it a bit like prematurely, maybe, you know, maybe in a way sort of in retrospect, at the time it was what I did and that's just the way it is. But now I wouldn't do that because I'm just a different person. I have a different approach. I think, you know, I'm a bit less sensationalist with my approach to everything. But I always feel a bit bad because since then I've spoken to lots of people who were like, you know, that game was actually like, that game was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I never played it at all, but that's what I hear.
Yeah, it's what I hear, and it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, that's kind of why you shouldn't like slate something for playing it for 40 minutes. But I always feel like as a studio, I mean, you know, it's kind of partially their fault for making the first 40 minutes of the game trash. Yeah. But at the same time, I always feel like, no, actually, they're clearly a studio with promise, and I feel bad having kind of vaguely, probably in their eyes, wronged them. So I'd like to go back and check something of theirs out, which is supposed to be actually really, really good.
Well, that's the amazing thing is like I really was not a fan of episode 1 of Life is Strange, and unfortunately because it's episodic, all I had to review at the time was episode 1. And then I think I told this story where I got slightly jumped by one of the members of that studio. Like,
really?
Someone introduced me to them and
you did,
asked me what I said, like, oh, I'm just a shame you didn't like the review. And then the guy was like, oh, by the way, this is the producer. And he was lovely about it. Like there was no malice at all. And the producer was just like, I really hope we can win you around. Like we've got some really interesting stuff planned. Fuck me, he was right. Like I want to meet him and go like, I'm sorry, absolutely smashed this. and the biggest compliment I can pay is that I now look back at episode 1 as a necessary piece. Like I might not like it in isolation, but as a part of the wider whole, it totally makes sense now. And that's amazing. Like it's not something episodic games maybe should do because you open yourself up to people just going, nah, this isn't for me. But it's brave and exciting and interesting and just like nothing else. And like I said, I think it's important. It does, at least visually and conceptually, it does stuff at the end of episode 5 that I was surprised to be seeing a game doing.
Wow.
Like, it feels like it deserves, like I said, it feels like it deserves to be among the hip films that it loves so much.
Huh.
It's
That's high praise.
quite something, like really weird.
That's on my list. I'll check
good
it
stuff.
out. I'll make some time. Something which isn't going to be important, I don't think, is, sadly, the Steam controller.
Oh, have you got
I got it. It's just over there. You can have a grab.
the
if you
little
want.
owl?
The little owl. Yeah, the funny owl. I bought this on a whim, basically, because I thought I wanted to check it out, and I've been really disappointed with it, I have to say. It's almost, in some ways, kind of representative of the PC as a system, in a weird way.
Oh, go on.
In the fact that, like, I like the PC a lot, but I find it that often... What I love about the PC is you have this ability to be flexible with it, right? You can use keyboard and mouse, but you can plug in a pad as well, and you can play with a pad.
Yeah.
And it's like the PC, in many ways, is apart from being portable, is the ultimate games console.
Of course, yeah.
Providing you are willing to be flexible.
Yeah.
However, lots of people do not treat the PC in that manner, and they think there is a right way to do it. And people enjoy... the elements of the PC that allow for endless tweaking in option menus and are very purist about just using mouse and keyboard for almost everything. I think that's dim, because it's like you've got this world of options, and you should just embrace whatever option feels right at any one time, and feel free to be flexible with this stuff. Now, the Steam controller is strange in the fact that it's kind of been made with the idea that you can play Steam games on your couch, basically. Or your sofa, if you're not an American. What's wrong with you, Matt?
God
Jesus.
damn it.
But it doesn't... It's one of these things where in trying to be the everything in one, we don't need anything else.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work, because it's like... It's not better than a mouse and keyboard, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But it's also not better than a controller. For reasons which are less obvious. I'll try and get to in a second. So it's this weird thing of being like, I've already got a mouse and keyboard. And I've already got an Xbox 360 pad, or sometimes I use a PS4 pad for games on the PC instead. So what's this for?
Yeah.
And really, you sort of think, well, you could, I suppose, sit and play more like mouse and keyboardy games on the sofa from further away. But having tried it a bit, I just think, well, what would you play? Like, because
you're not going to put like a 4X game on it
No.
and just twiddle about.
This is the thing, is it's almost like, basically the problem with it is you've got these amazing kind of haptic things which look really cool, and when you see someone doing this with them, I'm just rubbing my thumbs over the haptics, they look really futuristic and awesome. And it makes this sort of weird noise that sounds like a robot is dying in your hand when it's switched on. It's like...
Interesting.
It like vibrates. I'll show you, I'll switch it on just so you can see what it feels like. But it's does this thing that lots of people hate the haptics in it. I don't particularly mind. I think actually, weirdly, in a way, it's kind of crazy faux future. This thing that is like, see, look, you can.
Oh wow, that's weird. It sounds like digital static.
Yeah, it does, but it's basically so you can have this sort of the vibrations provide haptic feedback. Basically, it's a tiny speaker which makes it feel like something. It's only on the one to the right at the moment. But the problem is this weird thing of, it's kind of, to begin with, the sensitivity of what you're moving around as a pointer is a bit low, but when you increase it, it sometimes just doesn't work. Like, sometimes you like move it upwards and it goes the wrong way. And the big problem here, actually, with this is the fact that you have to use the controller by... You can't just rest your thumb on it naturally like you would a stick. Usually on a thumbstick, you would... This is going to be kind of... Apologise for podcast listeners, because it's going to be tough to do this, but I'll try my best. You can't just rest like the whole of your thumb on the stick and move it around. You have to kind of like use the tip of your thumb, because it's a touchpad. You have to be quite sensitive. And as you can see on the mouse, on the screen there, controlling the mouse. But so when you start doing that's me just doing the whole thumb, and it's just a bit... You can't really control it. So you need to use the tip of your thumb. Effectively, what that means is, it means when you're playing, you constantly are hooking your thumb. If you get your thumb in your hand, for those of you at home, and hook your thumb at a 90-degree angle, you have to kind of keep your thumb hooked and also quite controlled for quite long periods of time. And you know what? After a couple of minutes, it's just not comfortable.
Tennis thumb. That's what they call that.
Is that what it's called?
No, I made it up.
I like it, though. Tennis thumb.
It works out.
But the weird thing I realised after playing with this, is sort of, in a way, it's reminded me how good actual controllers are.
Yeah.
Because what's lovely about using normal thumbsticks is, yes, normally you will rest the tip of your thumb on the thumbstick and controller, or maybe the middle of your thumb. But you know what? After you've been playing like for a few hours,
You can just be lazy with it.
you can be lazy. You can start to use like halfway between your thumb and your hand. You can use like different bits of your hand. Sometimes you can just physically hold your hand on the controller because it is just a very blunt, simple instrument. You can effectively... Have I stopped recording this somehow? I just need to check if I've stopped recording it. Still
a timer going. Are we all right?
I think we're probably fine. It's just the problem is that my I think we are fine. It's just that using a Steam controller is also controlling my PC, and I was like, have I just ruined my own podcast?
1 out of 10. Steam controller broke Daft Souls.
It is bad. No, it's a shame. It's this weird thing of, having these 2 haptic pads means that the actual buttons are in a weird position. The stick is
I've heard a lot
position.
about the buttons feeling too far away.
It's a very chunky, odd piece of gear, and it's just like, I think the only way it will work is if people start actually, and they might do that, I don't know whether there'll be an install base big enough, but if they start actually making games which have a Steam controller mode, where it's actually been optimized for using the Steam controller, then that would be good. Because you know what, I'd like to play a game like, Endless Legend of 4. I'd like to play a 4X game on my sofa, like, a Civ game, but they need to be made with, because the touchpad haptic thing, the precision is just too much work after a long that time. So it needs to be something which has really big chunky buttons.
It is that troublesome, like you say, it's the optimization. Like I was listening to good gaming podcast, Midnight Resistance, this week, talking about how playing Destiny on a Vita, because it has built-in Vita controls, it's really good. And then someone tried it with Metal Gear Online, and it was bullshit because there's still stuff tied to the back touchpad. It is that thing where you just have to, someone has to put some work in somewhere.
It makes sense. I played a lot of Destiny on the Vita, like on when I was at my girlfriend's parents' house last year. Like I was just like, my PlayStation was switched on at home, and I was playing Destiny via the internet.
Magic.
And it was like, this is magic. And also, it had been optimized in a way that made sense. Obviously, you can't do anything really pro, but you can play. Like it works. But this is, and that's what kind of I think is, and that, to get back to my original point of it being kind of like, represents a lot of what is often not good about the PC, but is often heralded as being the best thing about the PC. It's just not optimized, right? But what you've got this sea of options. So you've got all these, like, you can go in and you can be like, how sensitive do you want the haptics to be? How much feedback do you want? Like, how much could you want it so that when you hold down this trigger, it changes what this whole pad does? So there's an incredible amount of customization there. So it's the idea is it's being like, well, it's this idea of like, well, it might not be perfect, but that maybe you haven't spent enough time going and tweaking it. And it's like, you know what? No, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Like, I want something that I pick up and it just works.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, hardware. That is a big thing.
Yeah.
Like, I want something that feels tested and slick. And obviously it has like user-made versions, things. Like, I went and tried Metal Gear Solid 5 with it. And it was like, I just went and used the user-made setup. It was just rubbish. It's like, this is awesome. Just not, it doesn't feel good. It's like, there's no reason I would use this instead of a pad.
Interesting.
So I don't know, it's like, I just hate that when sometimes, like, that's one of the things where sometimes, although I like the flexibility of having a PC, it's like I've been a PC owner my whole life. Like, I'm a software guy. I use lots of crazy software. I love using stuff like Premiere to edit because I can just throw anything at it, and if there's any problems, I've got an array of third-party programs which can just do my bidding. Like, it's not like I think PCs are bad. I think PCs are awesome. But I think sometimes people fall into the trap of feeling like the best thing is to have millions of options so you can customize everything to be just right for you. That's always nice for when you want it. But what's more important than that is things just being good.
It should be a fallback. Like, software's created to fill a gap, not to exist. Like, not to make things work.
And it kind of feels like it's like, hey, make it your controller. And I'm like, no. You make something. I bought a thing. I want it to work and be good, and I can't be bothered like spending hours doing that. So
I would like to say it's got GameCube style clicky triggers, so it's a Daft Souls A+ from me.
Yeah,
it's nostalgic now.
I really want to like it, and I've been trying to like it, but at the moment it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's just, because I've got like other controllers and because I've got mouse and keyboard, it's just going to go in a box, because it's like, well, I've got everything. It doesn't do anything better. It tries to be a bit like a mouse and keyboard, tries to be a bit like a controller. Doesn't do either of those things very well.
Little owl in a box.
Little owl in a box, especially because, I've got a PS4 pad that I can just plug in, and that's awesome.
And it's really well made, and it
just works, and it's brilliant, and yeah.
That's a shame.
It is a shame. But I've been playing a really good game this week, actually.
What's that?
Not much, but I played a bit of Downwell.
I've got Downwell. Let's talk about that game.
It's good, isn't it?
It's cool as shit.
You go down a well.
Go down a well and it's all black and white and red.
It is cool as shit. It's actually almost like, it's so cool that it makes me feel like, oh, you're too cool for your own good.
Oh, it's like, it's so Devolver that it's a joke at this point. Like, Devolver I've pitched this feature so many times, and it's Devolver that won't do it, to their credit. But I've tried to get Devolver to sit down with an indie record label and talk about how they are basically doing exactly the same thing. They are just finding people who make them look wicked.
Yeah.
All the time. And this is like some 23-year-old Japanese indie developer, which is basically a thing that doesn't exist in Japan, remember?
No, not now.
Making like a fucking cool as shit game with virtual controls that work. You've been playing it on computer, haven't you?
Yeah.
I've been playing it on iPad. Fine. Like, I went into it like, oh, this is going to be a bit janky, and it just works. I tried it on my phone, a bit too small, but on an iPad, perfect, because it's got that, it doesn't play in portrait, it plays landscape, but with like a thin strip of the screen
I didn't even
on
know
each
it
side.
was on the iPad.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's really, really
I've just
good.
been playing it on the PC, again with a PS4 pad, because it's got a really nice position D-pad, so you can have that real precision.
Nice.
But it gets a hell of a thing. It's very, very simple. Basically, the idea is you're just jumping down a well, and you have gun boots, obviously, because, since Bayonetta, everyone needs gun boots. It's just the law. So you shoot downwards with it, and it's sort of that thing, a bit like in Cave Story, that being like your guns are also sort of a jetpack. They don't make you go up, but they make you kind of slow down, or sometimes got very, very, very slightly, but not really. And the idea is you're falling down. It's a randomly kind of procedurally generated caves. You're basically falling down, and then you have enemies that you can basically kill with your gun boots, but then you have some enemies that you can kill by just jumping on them.
Yeah.
And that's really satisfying.
That's most enemies, which makes the ones that you can't really fucking annoying, because you'll go enemy, enemy, enemy. Oh shit, that one's covered in spikes, and just try to like smash yourself into a wall. Yeah,
or shoot it. And that's the thing, is it becomes this. It's got lots of really clever mechanics that tie together to make a game which is so simple, but like really fucking elegant. And the fact that it's like, you can shoot enemies with your shoes, but then you realise that that's not a good thing to do, because then it means if you need to shoot something and you don't have any ammo, because your ammo reloads when you land on the ground again.
Which breaks your combo.
Yeah. It basically means that you have to just keep bouncing off enemies, bounce, 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 and then save your bullets for either A, because there's an enemy beneath you that you need to kill with guns, or often you need to use the bullets to just keep yourself afloat so you can get to the other side of the room, because there's an item room and you're going to miss it if you don't do it. But it has this really, really neat thing that I love, that it reminds me of playing like MMOs or just RPGs, like the kind of action RPGs, not like the kind of old school turn-based battle ones, where you did that thing of being like, oh god, the monsters are chasing me, we'll just keep going. Yeah. Because once you've gone, the ideal way to play it is to go down quite quickly, just bouncing off the enemies, killing everything along the way, but you miss stuff, and it means you miss enemies, and then those enemies are still coming after you, but you've got no practical way to efficiently and consistently shoot upwards. You can only shoot down.
Yes. I think there are like 2 upgrades that shoot upwards.
There are things that allow you to attack up, but nothing consistent. Nothing that's like, you can just do it. It's like, it's always like, it might help you, but it might not be good enough. And it becomes this thing of you miss a few enemies, and then it's that thing of being like, well, what do I do? Do I take the time now to let the enemies come close and try and jump on their head by like niftily jumping around them and maybe risk losing health? Or if there's lots of things coming after you, do you just think, fuck it, and you just keep going down? And you keep dropping faster and faster to shake them, because it's that thing of being like, if you get to the end of the level, then you lose them all. They won't chase you. But it's that thing of like, you kind of end up doing the thing of being like, there's lots of things I need, and you kind of get forced into a pace which is uncomfortable, of just hurling yourself down just because you're being chased by so many things that you can't slow down. And it's a really nice thing of pace, being like, don't look back, just keep going. Like,
speaking of elegant systems, there's the one that really resonates with me is super simple, which is, as you go down, there are these caves that have time voids, which stops everything chasing you. You walk into the cave, and there are gems or a shop, or mostly there are gun upgrades or gun variants. So you go in, and usually you start with machine gun, which is just sort of 10 auto-firing bullets. And then you'll go in and you'll find like burst fire or shotgun or laser. And this is nice, and they have different attributes. But some are just worse than others. And you will... The genius of it is that picking it up also gives you 1 health point.
Yeah.
So you go in...
sometimes it gives you extra, like, ammo.
Yeah. So sometimes you go in and go...
I don't want that.
I hate burst fire. Burst fire's shit and is for idiots. But I'm on 2 health out of 5, and I'm really not sure if I can get through this level. And so you just like, fuck it, I'll just have to take it. And then you're forced to change your tactics. And it's just perfect. It's this, like, it's that, like 1 step ahead design that you don't find often. That it works so well, and it just manipulates you into playing different ways constantly. It's really nice. Like,
it's really smart, and it's like, I think it is one of those kind of roguelike things in the fact that you do unlock stuff, but the stuff you unlock over time is, like, as far as I can tell, like, you unlock different variants of characters which allow you to kind of like play with slightly different, like, starting setups.
Some change how much you see of shops, say. So there's I think the first one you unlock is like you almost never find a shop.
Yeah.
Which is a consistent source of HP. So you kind of go, this is interesting. So yeah, it's that kind of small
so there's like
change.
Slight changes, like to how you can play, and then there's lots of them are just like color changes.
Yeah.
It's like, because the whole game, I mean, the art style of this game is crazy in the fact that it's just like, as you say, it's just black, red, and white.
Mm.
But it's done in a really minimalist way that works. And the fact it's like, it means that you start to realize that the colors mean something.
Yeah.
And it's nice because it's like, for a game that does have kind of cool explosions and cool, like, pixelated mad stuff, it's the core visual design is so simple and clear that you always know exactly what's going on. And if you don't, it's because you're not paying enough attention, you're not good. It's not like it never gets obscured.
Which makes the palette changes really interesting, because, like, have you tried Game Boy mode?
I did, and it's really hard.
It's so much harder because it turns red off. So
Yeah.
you've only got 2 colours, and then you can't tell, like, if you can't see red, you can't see the enemies that kill you when you step on them.
No,
You're like,
it's not as clear.
fuck.
You have to know the game more, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh man, but it looks really cool.
yeah, exactly.
But no, it's really, really cool. And I one thing I love about it, and it's actually a visual thing. The use of halftone is fascinating. Like, this is kind of a graphic design thing. But it's like, because it is so true to not just being like, when I say it's like black and white and red, it's not like those 3 colors. It's like 3 tones. Like,
Yes.
there are no other tones. It's not like you have like the color red and then there's like light red, bright red. It's just one red. And it means that the way they do it is using a technique which is usually used in print of halftone, of being like, well, you kind of vary this by like having kind of gaps in between, of having kind of a lattice effect or like diagonal effect of being like black, red to kind of phase it out. And there's so many different halftone techniques. It's fascinating. Like, even like when gems are fading out, it doesn't like it's not actually a fade. It's not that actually the opacity level of the gem is going from 100 to 0.
They're literally changing how it's made up.
It's changing it through halftone.
Yeah.
Being like, it's reducing the number of pixels that are red until there are no red pixels anymore.
It's really cool.
And it's like really, really cool. It's just fascinating. It's like, I've seen a lot of people bringing in this sort of stark old school tone, but to go take it that far and actually use like almost as if it is like not just being like a cool style, but being like true to this idea of, I'm only going to use 3 color tones.
Yeah.
Like, for the whole thing.
Finding ways out of that.
Finding ways to make effects still look cool and smart and modern. It's bizarre. It's like, I think it's kind of, it's nothing to do with the way the actual game is, but I think it's also something that's like a bit of a sign for why it's good in a way. It's like that level of attention to detail for something which seems pointless, of being like, someone's gone out of their way so much to make, because they had this idea. Like, they think, I want it to be like this.
Yeah.
I want it to only have 3 colours. And they've gone off on that, and there would have been so many opportunities throughout this to just do something a bit easier, but no, it's going to be like this. It's very like, very just so, you know?
The music's fucking bonkers good as well. It's
Yeah.
like, if you've listened to us, you already know what the music is going to be. Like, I bet everyone can imagine like a slightly action-oriented chiptune song.
Yeah.
But it does one thing that I've not played it enough to fully understand, but I think it's got this bar which fills up as you get gems, and when it's filled it says gem high.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure what that does. Do you know?
I think it means you get more gems.
Oh, okay, so it just gives
get
you more.
Bigger gems when you kill stuff.
If you're off, I think it's off, if you're off gem high, or if you've got no gem bar at all, the music just turns off, and it clicks in your brain, and you're like, I've got to do stuff to make the music come back. Like,
Yeah.
and it fires you up. It makes you more aggressive just by going, nothing's happening. I'm doing badly, which is kind of amazing.
It's weird. It's just the momentum in it is very strange. It's just this thing of like you feel like, and in my head I'm like, actually you don't need to be going down this quickly. Like you can slow down a bit.
Yes.
But in my head I'm like, no, keep going,
Go,
like hurling myself down as well, like turbo face, and it's a turbo face.
Why not?
Why not? But it reminds me of, well, obviously, it's very Metroidy. It reminds me of the first Metroid game I played was not a particularly good one. I think it was Metroid 2 on the Game Boy Micro I got it on. And I think because I'd heard Metroid was great, and I don't think that one actually was that great. But
I think I might have played the same one.
It was really hard, and not terribly satisfying. But it had lots of rooms that were almost like this game, with lots of like long, thin downward rooms where you had to like very specifically jump up on single blocks.
Axiom Verge has a lot of that this year as well.
And it was a real pain in the arse, but I just remember it being really kind of brutal and having lots of rooms where you drop down and then, oh, you just hit a Metroid, oh, you've hit another Metroid, oh, you've lost like loads of your health, and it being like, God damn it, except this is actually fun.
Yes.
Whereas that wasn't that much fun.
Yeah. Oh, it is interesting.
It's very good, and it's like, to be honest, it's not actually like grabbed me in a way. It's like, I started playing it and I was like, yeah, this is clearly very good. I played it for about half an hour, 40 minutes, got into a zone with it at one point and got quite excited because I was like, oh, I'm actually like blasting through it. I got like almost the end of the second world and I was like, oh man, like I'm doing good. But I don't know, it's like, it's not the sort of game that I find myself like really wanting to play, weirdly, but it's clearly very good.
Yeah, it's a weird one because I got it as a phone game because I get the train a lot. And I was like, this is a perfect train game. But it's not, because firstly, it's the best train games on a phone are always one-handed for a start, and this is very much two-handed, and the virtual controls push onto the screen on the phone version. So it's actually, if you're going to get it on a mobile device, get it on a tablet. Or I think it's only on iPad at this point. But yeah, it's more in-depth than you would expect it to be. It's got a feeling of like, oh, there's a real game in this, where you see it at throwaway, which is not its fault.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it definitely is one of those ones where I really feel like kind of maybe hold off a little bit, because I think it's being very well received, and I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out on PS4 and Vita. If you have
interesting, yeah.
If you have a PS4 Vita combo, it's probably because they keep being cool indie games. I keep being like playing them and going, I like this a lot, but you know what? It would be better if I could play it on my Vita.
And Devolver sure love PS4 and Vita crossplay stuff. So.
And I still love the crossplay stuff on Vita.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I mean, lots of people are like, oh, what's the point of Vita? It doesn't have any new games. It's like, it doesn't need to.
No.
If you own a PlayStation 4 and you can afford to chip out and get a Vita, then it's just like, cha-ching.
Yeah.
You just got like endless cool, perfect handheld minigames like that you could play on your PS4, but why would you when you can play it on a train?
Yeah, it's so good.
But yeah, anyway, I think we've got a question from Mr. Quentin Smith.
Oh, God.
Hello, Matt, Joe, it's me, Quins. I hope you're okay back home. I think I made it safe and sound to Vancouver, but everyone's really rude.
Hey, I'm walking here!
Goodness me. Anyway, I was just in Union Square, and they have all these chess players there, and you can pay to play with them, and that gave me an idea for an activity for you boys. So a game called Chesh has just come out for iOS. I won't tell you anything about it, just load it up with the default settings and record the experience of playing it against one another.
Okay, Quins, this is Chesh.
Right.
I think it's my go first.
Oh my God.
That's actually frightening.
That was a moon.
Whoa!
You just killed your own beast. Well, this is moody as hell. I'm not going to use a moon. A moon just ate a sort of lobster or a pumpkin. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what happened there.
I'm going to press this that looks like a Star Destroyer, and I'm going to move it 2 forward.
You did?
Fine, I
Nothing
didn't kill
happened.
anything. That's horrible. Oh my God, it's the most intimidating game.
It's got like these crazy bright colours and a kind of ebbing backdrop.
Did you ever play 868 Hack? It reminds me of that.
It might be made by the same guy.
Ah, okay, so it's one of those games where it doesn't tell you how to play forever. Oh, I can't kill you with my Star Destroyer thing.
What the hell? You could move forward, now you can move like crazy everywhere diagonal.
I'm not going to use that. No, I killed my own thing, god damn it! Right, so, if you select something, you can't select another of your pieces.
But you've done something.
I ate my own piece. Oh, it's like a horrible jellyfish.
Oh, and once you've selected it, you can't...
No, you can't turn off. Oh, you've turned it off.
Oh, I've stopped it.
Oh, with different colours and it changes the symbols.
Got a man with a gun. Once you've selected a man, you can't deselect.
Okay, I'm going to use... These look like a vacuum. I'm going there.
Oh, man. A hashtag can do that.
I'm going to see if my hashtag moves the same as your hashtag. It does. Okay, so it's not just like random every time.
Ah, I can take your hashtag.
For fuck's sake. Well, my man with the gun is going to eat you right up. It's going to eat you for breakfast.
It is as well.
Pow!
And then the man with the gun.
Oh, I can't remember. So this is the game, is remembering how things move, isn't it? That's what it is.
But then they changed, because your thing moved...
Right, okay, that moves like a weird little duster.
I see, maybe...
Does it carve a path? Oh, it shows you how they've moved. That's interesting.
It shows you where they move from last.
This is like a rabbit.
That's a crazy little dog, isn't it?
Or a dog. It's upside down for me.
Oh, man, so that's it. If you click on the wrong thing and you can only move into your own things, that's why you have to eat them.
Yeah.
Because you've made the mistake.
You've been an idiot.
Well, see, what can you do with that? I couldn't do that. Or could I? Maybe I could.
Did you ever... I didn't see if you're square. I'm going to move it there.
No, I can.
Oh, he can eat my... He ate my gunman.
I ate your gunman.
You ate my gun. You sunk my battleship. Oh, shit.
Whoa.
Well, you're just going to eat me. Oh, this is really bad. I'm going to go there. So I moved what looks like a king or queen into a very dangerous place. You can only eat your own pieces, you idiot.
Oh, I don't want to eat my own pieces.
Wait, can I eat your piece now?
I don't know.
What if I kill your special piece?
It sounds like the kind of...
I'm going to kill your special piece. I killed one.
Oh my god.
Oh, you've got a health bar.
I lost loads of health there.
Oh, and it's got timers as well.
Oh god.
Yes, yes. I'm gonna eat your goddamn humans. You move there, dog, into a corner, nice and safe. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. Chesh.
I just cheshed your thing.
Chesh is really just too powerful for my brain.
It's a bit intense, isn't
Why
it?
did I choose this? I'm gonna kill your dog. Eat that, dog. Does that take down your health as well?
I think it all does. I think time
so
does
the big,
as well.
So the big pieces
Oh my god, your
are just
time.
more of your HP.
Yeah, and your time is also your health.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh Christ!
Your health bar and your time is the same thing.
This is horrible. Where can this gunman move? One forward. All right, little porn man. Okay. I'm going to... No!
Pressure's on, sandwich.
No. My dog's dead. I killed my dog.
I killed your dog and I liked it. Hope you don't call the police.
I'm gonna eat your box.
Oh, Jesus, man.
Right, we've got 2 HP left.
The neighbours are going to be listening to this and be like, this is the most erotic podcast I've heard him recording ever.
It's quite something. This is really different. I'm going to... What can I do? Where does anything move in this game? I'm going to move this duster diagonally right.
Oh,
It's
man.
really... Like, the music is quite unpleasant. Like, in a good way, obviously. Your hashtag is fucked, mate.
Is it?
I don't know. I'm just saying it. I'm just playing mind games.
Just smack talk, isn't it? Doesn't matter if it's true or not.
Nope. You're going there. I'm sort of built an enclave around my remaining guy. Oh no, I'm in huge trouble now. How do I get out of this? I think you can go there. It's one each. Oh, how do I kill you now? I don't know if I can. Oh god! I hate Chesh! Yes.
These are so weird. Like, it's kind of hard to...
I don't know where the boxes move at all. I don't get them. They can... So, to explain, this piece can move, I think, diagonally or sideways as far as
not
it wants, but
only
up until the first obstacle it meets.
It's really odd. It's like the way that the units move is sometimes obvious and sometimes just doesn't make any sense.
You're going there. Oh no, I'm an idiot. Damn it!
Defeated.
I think you'd had that move for ages and neither of us had seen it.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, Chesh is
That's
hard.
Chesh.
So yeah, it appears to be a chess game in which the tiles are randomized every time and you have to relearn how pieces move every game.
And
which is kind of amazing.
It doesn't make any sense.
And is incredibly intense.
I love the music. It's
It is really
It's
good.
like being in a dream sequence from like Hotline Miami.
I was going to say, what it is like if you walked in on two gangsters from Hotline Miami playing chess.
Yeah. That's it.
And then you battered them to
That
death.
was one hell of a thing. Thanks for that, Quinns. We did work it out, though. It was like being in the Crystal Maze, though, of being
Yeah.
like, what is this? What are we doing?
But he's done that on purpose, hasn't he? What
Yeah.
he's done is gone, they'll learn.
will.
I believe they're smart enough just to deal with this.
It's nice. He believed in us.
I thought you just brought up Subterfuge on your iPad, and I was about to freak
I'm
out.
done with that.
PTSD.
Subterfuge is still real. No, I'm not playing it anymore. Quinns is still playing. He started another game of Subterfuge.
That's mad.
I think
That's
he's
absolute
crazy.
madness.
And we got a couple of questions.
Oh, sweet.
I'm really bad at this. I need to work out how to do it because people are still asking questions in the last one.
Oh, okay.
And we run out. We didn't do all the ones in the last one. Oh, one day I will learn an elegant way of having a question system. But
What if you have a pinned post at the top and then you just read from the last week?
I think that might be something to
This
do.
is the question garbage bin. Not
think-
that the questions are garbage. That's the wrong metaphor.
Jesus, Joe.
What I'm saying
to
is,
undermine the audience.
it's a cool postbox. That's the more traditional way of referring to people sending you things.
The sign on the postbox that says "Cool postbox falls away." Read
Well,
garbage
it's
bin.
a veneer. It looks like a steel postbox, but it falls down. It's just a goddamn bin.
Da-da-da. It's a bin.
What's
Barney,
the first from the bin?
First from the bin is Barney, whose avatar is a dog wearing a funny hat. Matt, when did you find your love of edibles and the construction of them? I'm assuming he means food rather than like edible.
Edibles is a common
Underwear?
term for drugs.
Is it?
As in like hash brownies.
Oh, right.
Are you well into them?
I thought it was like a term for like edible underwear.
Well, that is literally what it's called. So it
I'm
could be
not
them
really
too.
in love with drugs or edible underwear. I'm quite the prude. I think he means cooking. I
What
don't know.
about hash brownie underwear? That's the next step.
I think I got into cooking because I used to like not have any money, and being able to cook food well is one of the most efficient ways that you can vastly improve the quality of your own life.
It's the only reason I do this podcast is because we get dinner. I've mentioned this before.
Yeah, not always. Some weeks I'm bad. Some weeks I'm busy.
Well, I'll take most weeks. That's all right.
Most weeks are pretty good.
I'll take the hit.
It's curry night tonight. We had curry.
It was good.
Imagine that.
Big night in, it said on the box.
It did, and that's what we had.
We've had a big one.
We're still having a big night in.
Still going on. Never ending.
The work never ends, does
Can I
it?
stay over?
Let's have a big sleepover.
Let's have a big camp.
After this, let's order another curry.
Oh my god. That's the biggest night I've ever heard of.
Night never stops getting bigger, exponentially increasing night.
So flatulent.
Yeah, everyone should learn to cook. It's really good. I have lots of people asking me all the time if I will do more cookery videos. Maybe if I do, it will be on a different channel because it would be a bit odd having them on Cool Ghost. It was a bit odd having them on my old YouTube channel, to be honest, but that was fine. But to be honest,
Coolie ghosts.
I can't work all the time, unfortunately. You know, it's 9:30 on a Wednesday night, and I'm still working. I've been working for about 14 hours today.
Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't
That's
it?
pretty standard, though. That's just the way it works. So everyone's like, "Oh, do some more stuff," and it's like, "Are you smoking crack?
Are you smoking edibles?
Are you smoking edibles? I need to sleep." Anyway, Paul C asks about the Steam controller. He says he's waiting for his to arrive. How big a mistake have I made by buying one? I think, unfortunately, we've all made a bit of a mistake.
Sorry, mate. How much do they cost? I didn't even ask.
It was about like 40, 50 quid, I think.
No, it's fairly standard. At least it's not like 70 and you brought it as a kind of lifestyle purchase.
No, yeah, I mean, it was. I wanted to see what it was like.
Yeah.
I read it. I think it was the big article they wrote. Someone wrote about them when they first like unveiled them, about how they'd gone through the design process and what they wanted to create. And I love the idea. I was like, this
It
is
is a
really
nice
cool,
idea.
but it's just not very good at the moment.
Yeah.
I hope it will get better. It's this weird thing if they've now said that like, oh, the next Steam controller won't be made by us. We're going to allow the community to like mod it and make their own. And it's like, what? I'm kind of like, what do you mean? Do you mean like 3D printing or something? Like,
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I don't understand what they're talking about.
It's that kind of phablet syndrome, isn't it? You know, like 2 years ago when everyone was like, I want a really big phone. And you're like, why? I don't know, it's somewhere in between. You're like, well, it doesn't fit anywhere. There's no point. There's a reason we demarcate.
I don't get those at all.
No.
I got really annoyed, actually. I need a new phone, and they were all huge. I was like, but I don't want a huge phone.
I went to a friend's parents' anniversary, and his uncle was walking around, and he had like a smart shirt on. His entire top pocket was a phone, and it looked fucking mad. It looked like he'd put like body armor on over his heart, like he was going to be shot at the anniversary dinner.
One of my best friends, after years of not having a smartphone ever, in fact, he was living off of old hand-me-down, like phones that I'd given him, like really old school, like Nokias and stuff. He had his first smartphone and he accidentally bought a massive one because he didn't know how big it was.
So good.
He thought it was like half the size on the website. It's just hilarious watching him walking around poking this massive tablet thing. After like it is properly like your dad getting into the world of tech for the first time, but he's like our age.
That's no fun.
He's brilliant though, so it's fine. Mugen08 asks, as you are fans of XCOM, I wonder, what are your thoughts on Valkyria Chronicles?
Never played Valkyria Chronicles. It's the kind of thing that I've often been told to do. Does it also share some similarities with Fire Emblem, like there's relationships and children and stuff, or is that a different game?
I don't remember.
I think you don't remember.
I think there's been a few of them now. I played the first one a bit. It does have, I think, kind of like, you've got like a wider squad of people, but you obviously have that thing of you level up the people, and they're like, it's that thing of their characters within the story, but then if they die, then I think they're still in the story, sort of, but maybe not. I don't remember that, actually. Maybe they were not. I don't know. I really wanted to like Valkyria Chronicles. I love the style. There's this really kind of cool, like moving watercolor painting style that color fades in and out of. It was awesome. Like, so much about that game I loved. But you know what? It was just too hard. And there was one mission, it wasn't even that far into it. It was like the point where it was like, went from being like a fun little challenge to just being like brutally difficult.
That's never good.
It was this mission where there was this big tank going through the desert and you had to kind of ambush it. And it was one of those really annoying things in the fact that I kept dying about halfway through the mission, but then you just have to do the whole mission again. And it meant that like, it was one of those things where it was so... Unlike XCOM, which is a bit fluid and a bit different, some of these set missions were kind of like the enemies are always in the same place.
What I was going to say is that thing where it makes the start of the mission might have been brilliant when you first did it, but doing it 4 times, it becomes a chore to have to get to the point.
Because it's
where
that thing of like, it isn't like, oh man, this time they're doing this, I've got to react. It's just like, just get here, do this. And it just became like, it was just boring. It was like, oh, move here, then you move here, then you fire the rocket at this.
Yeah.
And then I just kept getting killed and being like, I kept being really close, but then dying, and then just being like, oh, I can't be bothered.
Also,
with
I bet
this.
when they move around in the fog of war, they don't go like XCOM, which is the best thing ever. So.
I had the same problem though with Fire Emblem, with the fact that it was great fun until you started dying, and then you had to do the same mission again, and it was exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it's pretty tough, especially when you get those missions where it's like conditional to do stuff. So you get like there's one, the famous one is Donald, the villager you have to save, and he has to level up, and if he doesn't level up, he just leaves, and you're like, and he's the Magikarp of that game. He becomes fucking amazing.
No, it's ridiculous.
And so you look at it and you're like, I just have to play this level again.
Yeah, you do it again and again and again and again, and it's always like the early stages because the enemies are in the same positions, and the enemies, you do the same thing, the enemy does the same thing, and it's just like, just let me get to the bit. I know this bit. It just should offer you a checkpoint option. It should just be like, do you want to start again? Do you think you messed up at the start, or do you want to like try from that point?
Even if it built like, I like the idea of a strategy game that builds save states into its design. Going, you have 3, so if you get to a point where you're like, this bit could get tough, and then it becomes your fault. If you've placed the checkpoints badly, you fuck yourself over. You have to do the whole mission again. That's a bit more satisfying.
That's something that Fire Emblem would really benefit from. And I'm glad you remember Don, because every time I talked about this, I got really annoyed with the latest Fire Emblem because of Don, and the fact that it's like, they put him in, he is the Magikarp of the game. He's rubbish, he's useless, but then you take the time to make sure he doesn't get killed, and he becomes, like, stupid.
He's absurd, it's absolutely ridiculous.
So powerful. You can just send him in on his own, and everyone else, he doesn't even need to attack things. Like, everyone attacks him, and then he just counteracts and kills them in one hit. But it annoyed me then that they hadn't written in any plot for him.
I'll tell you what they have written in for him. If you marry him to the slightly gothy dark mage, they start up a sort of sanitized dom sub marriage. It's amazing. She's like, he's a proper submissive and she's his dominatrix. It's really interesting and weird.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some of the relationship stuff in that game.
You have to match up the
weird
right
as
people.
Hell. Well, yeah, but some of them are a bit shit. Some of them are really interesting.
Because I just matched him up with someone and it was just this weird thing. Also, it annoyed me that he kept carrying on, like, talking as if like he was like, oh, I'm not. Yeah. It's like, why isn't he...
He's the most powerful man in the world.
Yeah. It should be like, even if there's something quite simple, like they could have really jury-rigged it in a simple way of having like the character who up until that point was supposed to be like the powerful knight who's in the story, should have just had a cutscene where he just goes, listen, it's not me, it's him, innit? And then like all of the dialogue for the rest of the game just gets swapped, and then he just becomes this sort of like, he's like, oh really? Okay, well it's time for me to step up.
That would be quite good.
He becomes like, because it's his idea that like he's just still being like, oh well, I guess I'll just be in the barn, doing hay. And it's like, are you mental, mate? You just killed 100 men, like on your own. Like you're the hero in this game.
You're a hero and an insane sociopath.
And it just really annoyed me that they had willingly programmed in this thing, this game-breaking mega hero, but they're not even vaguely written that into the story at all.
I guess it's because he's optional. So
yes,
if he's not going to turn up. There's also one other brilliant relationship thing in that. If you marry your character, if you're a male character, to a mage called Miriel, you help her discover the principle of gravity within Fire Emblem's world. It's fucking brilliant. Some of the writing in that game is spectacular.
Some of it is really good.
Yeah, it can be, as you say, it can be quite anemic if you match up the wrong people, but if you get the right people, unbelievable. Also, Kellum is one of the most tragic characters in games, but I won't talk about that now because it'll go on forever.
No,
really good.
I do like them, but I just find there's something about Fire Emblem games that I really enjoy them when I start, and then I just lose interest. I think it's when the difficulty curve gets to a certain point where like you can't be forgiven for doing anything. Yeah,
the second half of that game becomes a bit absurd, and I've never finished it. I've got to the halfway point where there's a fairly major event. This is Fire Emblem Awakening, by the way, just for people who don't know. And it is really amazing. But then it steps up the difficulty in such a way that I'm just like, I'm fine. I've seen the really big deal, so that's that. Goodbye.
Yeah, same. It's like, I wanted to carry on with it, but when it's this thing of like, oh, you put that unit in the wrong place, and now it's dead.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just reminds me of, it's like, it's cool, but it's never as good as Advance Wars. Like, the original Advance Wars was just so elegant.
Yeah, it's insane.
And it was that thing of being like, you put that unit in the wrong place, and now it's going to die.
Yeah.
But it was like, you knew that, and you never felt bad about it, because it was such a simple, rigid little system of, you learn to move your units around in a way so that they would be protected.
Yeah. And
it was like, because it has too many more numbers and too many more systems, it's impossible to keep track of.
It remains insane to me that the Advance Wars never got like a toy range, because they're the most like beautiful little trucks. I would drive the APCs around forever. I'd just wheel them around my house. They'd be like those little ammo robots in Star Wars that beep around the Death Star.
It is a series that doesn't feel like it's been done justice by history. I mean, they had the kind of the 3D action game, didn't they, on the Wii?
Oh God,
I think, and that was like.
Italian
Wars,
yeah, was that the same people? I didn't know.
I think it was supposed to be kind of
Advance
Wars-y things, and yeah, I mean, it was all right. I think it was, but it's just the original Advance Wars was just incredible.
Yeah, it's
and actually
mad.
A lot of the sequels were very good as well. Yeah. They were all kind of individually a bit flawed, but the first one was just like, holy God, that game was good.
It's on Wii U now. You should download it for sure. It's like £4. It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievably good. Like, if you've not played Advance Wars, like, find a way to do that, because the first one is just so strong.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Anyway, that's
a weird question.
That's the music that plays when I can't find any more questions.
Fair enough.
I do need to set up a permanent place on the website to do it. I think what I'm going to do, I've been trying to set it up so that the Daft Souls page on Cool Ghost is a better place for you to see all the different episodes so you can comment on them, and I might actually set up a permanent pinned question thing there. I'll work it out. But if you're curious and you'd like to ask a question, then at some point in the next week, go and poke around on the Daft Souls.
Throw in the Daft Souls trash dump.
Go into the Daft Souls bin, rummage around, find yourself a treat.
Get stinky.
I would now go to coolghost.net /Daft Souls, and hopefully within this is so lame. Hopefully I will have done something.
Maybe.
You know, I do stuff. Like, everyone was complaining about the fact that the iTunes feed for this was rubbish.
Yes.
I fixed it. It took me an entire day.
I remember.
But I fixed it. So I'm not entirely useless.
We all believe in you.
I just appear to be sometimes.
When you say things like, yeah, I might do it on a podcast.
I just hate to make promises that I can't keep.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I don't have my diary in my head, so I don't know if I've got time or not. We'll work it out. Anyway, that's been another episode of Daft Souls. Thank you very much, as ever, for joining us, Joe.
That's all right.
Anything you've done last week that you would like people to check out?
There's a new episode of my podcast, Chat Very Good. My other podcast, I should say, whilst I'm on this one. And it's a great deal of fun. I slag off the popular television programme Mr. Robot and made a few people upset with
I've not seen that yet, but I've heard lots of people slagging it off as well.
Oh,
so-
okay. Because all I've heard is good things, and I feel like an outlier. I feel like the outsider in Mr. Robot. Maybe that's the story. But who knows? Yeah, it's fun. Good. Not much wrestling in it this week. You'd love it.
I'll listen to it,
Yes.
definitely. Because I don't like wrestling.
Yeah, that's true.
That's chat very good.
Oh, shit, there is. Don't listen.
Oh, no. I'll just phase out.
Yeah. Also, I'm on Games Radar occasionally. I do articles. That's the thing. So
Yeah.
I'll have full review of Tales from the Borderlands up that you can all read, and it will be enlightening.
That'd be nice.
Yeah,
That'd be nice. Words, etc.
Indeed.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you next week, hopefully with a guest. We'll definitely have a guest, I'm sure. Everyone's bloody busy this week.
Absolute
It's
monsters.
like Christmas, but it's not. Thank you very much for listening. My brain has just completely run out of juice, so I'm just going to wrap up the podcast.
Can go drink some
Just by
juice.
saying thanks. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
I think you're lovely.
Have a good day.
You too. No. And them. Bye.